morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. Happy Monday, everyone. Well, if it is happy for you. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you did not look at the news because we're going to tell you all the news you might have missed over the weekend so you don't have to even worry about getting kept up. We'll keep you updated. This is the first and only international game show Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show started. We just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into our Mucking Fonday headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Mucking Fonday, the story of St. Patrick, a reminder of the courage of migrants. Plus, King Philippe VI acknowledges that there was much abuse and ethical controversy in the conquest of America.
Greetings from the United States. Severe weather outbreak coming basically to my house today as tornado warnings are going to interrupt our show probably. Plus, searching Epstein's Zorro ranch. Agents hope it's not too late.
And, oh my God, economic reforms work? Poland is a model for economic growth after, I think, 25 years.
Woohoo! Yes, and when we said no kings, we weren't talking about the Burger King, but apparently the Burger King took us literally as they changed their advertising.
In my culture news, of course, we're going to talk about the Oscars 2026. Here's key takeaways from this, including horror wins, tech losses, and politics that are hard to ignore.
And it's National Everything You Do Is Right. Unfortunately, Trump takes this personally, and it's March 16th, 2020. On Before Coffee. We're all stupid now.
Everything I do is correct, and everything you do is wrong.
That is correct. That is correct. Just by the virtue of me doing it, it is correct. That's right. Yes, I kicked that brick with my bare feet. I meant to do that. That was the correct thing to do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be going to find some ice. Yeah, so.
Ouch.
I meant that. Everybody's a cat today, right? I meant that.
Yeah,
right?
that was on purpose.
Cats
I'm
never
embarrassed that you saw me. Yeah.
Cat. Yeah. Everybody wants to be a cat.
All right, let's roll our first segue wheel. Or spin the wheel. I really need to say spin the wheel, roll the wheel.
All right, I need to know.
That's why it's a bingo. That's why it's a bingo call, because I'm always saying roll the wheel. You don't roll wheels, you spin them. This is accurate metaphor and simile for our first segue, in which we'll be talking about two things. St. Patrick's Day, which has happened or is happening. I don't know what day it is because I'm not Irish.
Tomorrow. And
then also Spain, talking about, hey, we were kind of dickheads with the whole conquest of America thing.
Speaking of kings.
Our first story is coming from Grine N. Adoha on The Independent. Ireland's president has said the story of St. Patrick's symbolizes the resilience and courage of migrants. Catherine Connolly used her first St. Patrick's Day message to celebrate migrants and warn against the normalization of war ahead of Irish Premier Michael Martin's meeting with convicted felon Trump in the Oval Office tomorrow on the 17th of March. A week ago, she criticized the deliberate assaults of international law in the Middle East and said the UN Charter cannot be ignored. While not naming the US or Israel explicitly, this was seen as a rebuke of the Irish government after Minister avoided stating that the bombing campaign on Iran broke international law. In her St. Patrick's Day message today on the 16th of March, Ms. Connolly said the young man who would become St. Patrick was trafficked across the Irish Sea from Britain in the 5th century. She said he later returned to Ireland as a missionary, giving voice in his life to fostering an awareness of consequences of slavery. The story of Patrick's life serves as a reminder of the resilience and courage of migrants, the invaluable contributions that they have made and continue to make, to the countries they now call home, and sometimes even in the face of great adversity, she said. Patrick's story speaks not only to the Ireland of the 5th century, but to the millions still subjected to trafficking, forced labor, and displacement today. As we recall the life of Patrick, we invoke his spirit, acknowledge our shared responsibilities as global citizens. We stand in solidarity with those who find themselves in vulnerable and dangerous circumstances. Patrick's story invites us to respond with hospitality and kindness to those suffering the consequences of war and displacement, those fleeing their countries because of persecution or violence. The normalization of war can never be accepted. Now, more than ever, we must renew our commitment to peace and diplomacy in line with the principles of international law as set out in the United Nations Charter. She emphasized Ireland's position as a neutral country in a post-colonial society, meant it can offer a valuable perspective on the challenges facing our world. So, great message, and it's so true. What is St. Patrick the patron of again? I know he's the patron of certain things. Blah, 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 blah. The Apostle of Ireland.
He cleared the snakes from Ireland. Patron saint of snakes.
Oh, right.
No.
You're right. There's no snakes.
Okay.
Patron saint. It was also the patron saint of Nigeria. That's fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Blah, blah,
did he
blah,
help
blah.
Nigeria in any way? I'm just curious.
I don't know why he's the patron saint of Nigeria, but good for him.
I'm sure everybody in Nigeria knows that too, right? Like I'm not even a Christian.
17th of March, yeah.
Right?
But yeah,
all right,
hope we have a good Patrick's Day, I guess, tomorrow. Hey, I'm trying my best. I used to be able to do an Irish accent. Okay, here we go. Give me your metaphor.
My metaphor is snarky because this is basically a drinking holiday, and that's to me that's all it is a drinking holiday. And Ireland, unfortunately for Ireland, that's your stereotype. Anyway, saying St. Patrick's Day is a religious holiday is like saying Cinco de Mayo is about European imperialism, which it technically is, but it's a drinking holiday. Yeah. That's your simile, not a metaphor. It's simile.
Yeah, sometimes we need an excuse to celebrate, huh? And some people do get very,
right?
I guess.
Like, I was making
I don't want to say
list
nationalistic,
of
but I guess nationalistic about being Irish. There's some people who do that.
I can name a holiday every month that is a drinking holiday in the United States. January is, of course, New Year's, right? And February, of course, is Fat Tuesdays every year, the day before Lent. People get drunk, whether they're Catholic or not. They just go out and get plastered, especially in New Orleans. March, of course, we have St. Patrick's Day. April, we have, I guess, after Easter, Lent is over. You can go back to drinking again. And, of course, in May we have Cinco de Mayo and Memorial Day. So you can get slammed twice in 1 month. Anyway, it just keeps going on and on and on. We all have drinking holidays all year. July 4th. We have Juneteenth now. Good reason to get drunk. Juneteenth.
Yep.
August. Hey, shit, we got to come up with something in August. You don't need a reason to drink in August. It's too damn hot. You're just drinking beer all day because it's too hot. I don't know. But it just seems like in America, we just need an excuse to drink. And we really don't need one now, but yeah. Anyway, I guess you have another story?
Yes, I have one more story.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Spain and the current king apologizing, I don't know if he's apologizing. He's acknowledging that we really fucked up America. Sorry, guys. This is from Miguel Gonzalez on El País. King Felipe VI acknowledged today on the 16th of March morning during a visit to the exhibition Half the World, Women in Indigenous Mexico, organized jointly by the Spanish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Mexican Ministry of Culture, and on display at the National Archaeological Museum in Madrid, that there was much abuse and ethical controversies in the colonization of America by the Spanish conquistadors. There are things that, when we study them, when we understand them, you say, well, in our current view, with our values, obviously, they can't make us proud, but we have to understand them, and in their proper context, not with excessive moral presentism, with an objective and rigorous analysis, the king said, in an informal conversation with the Mexican ambassador to Spain, Quirino Ordaz, and other authorities, as seen in a video released by the royal household through social media. The king went on to say that we must learn lessons because there have also been struggles, moral and ethical controversies regarding how power is exercised from day one. That is to say, the Catholic monarchs themselves, Queen Isabella with their directives, the laws of the Indies through their legislative process. There is a desire to protect the indigenous people, which then reality means is not fulfilled as intended, and there is much abuse, he acknowledged. He then encouraged everyone to value the fact that from this knowledge we will appreciate each other more. I think this is a reference to the idea that the Spanish specifically said, hey, you can't kill indigenous people unless they're cannibals. And then what did the conquistadors say? Oh, those people are killing people, so I killed them all. No proof. No dude with a clipboard saying, oh yeah, here's evidence of cannibalism. They just, decided, hey, yeah. Totally. They're doing that.
They're eating the cannibals. Yeah.
We can kill them all now.
Likely they were cannibals. Yeah.
The problem, well, that's true. I always found it funny, like, the people in Europe were being like, oh, I can't believe they're doing human sacrifice. Meanwhile, we're hanging people in the square, or all the weird other ways, fucked up ways the English, executed people, but, human sacrifice, totally different. Anyways, continuing. It has been a wonderful experience to bring the testimony of ancient Mexico and other cultures that are what Mexico is today. In reality, Mexico is a product of all of them, including the encounter with the Spanish. Indeed, Mexico is just a result of Spanish colonization. In a way, we're a Spanish colony until they fought the Spanish out of town. The monarch later added, congratulating the organizers of the exhibition. In an event that was not on his public agenda, the king made a surprise visit to this exhibition, which highlights the role of women in pre-Hispanic cultures and includes nearly 250 pieces, many of which had never been exhibited outside of Mexico. The visit of King Felipe VI, highly symbolic, represents the gesture of reconciliation between the two countries after the then Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador sent a letter in 2019 demanding that the king apologize for the atrocities committed during the conquest of the Americas. The monarch, according to the Spanish government, left the letter unanswered. Felipe VI's silence, which López Obrador interpreted as a snub, triggered a diplomatic crisis that worsened when the new Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, that's a very Spanish name, Sheinbaum, half German, half Mexican, decided not to invite the king to her inauguration. And consequently, the Spanish government opted not to send any representatives to the ceremony. Good! Mexico is its own country now. You should start speaking your own indigenous language too and get rid of Spanish. That would make me really happy if Mexico was just like, we don't speak Spanish anymore. It's a colonizer language. The opening of the same exhibition last November served as a stage for Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Alvarez to take a first step towards rapprochement. The shared history between Spain and Mexico, like all human history, has its light and dark sides. There has been pain and injustice towards the indigenous people. There were injustice, and it is only right to acknowledge and regret it. That is part of our shared history. We cannot deny or forget it, he stated. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum took on the challenge. Congratulations on this first step, Spanish Foreign Minister, she stated hours later, noting that it was the first time a Spanish official had spoken of regretting the injustices committed by the conquistadors. Forgiveness in noble nations. It is not humiliating. On the contrary, acknowledging history, recognizing wrongs, asking for forgiveness or expressing regret and claiming it is part of history's and noble governments, she added. Despite these words, Mexican authorities felt that the gesture from King Felipe VI was still needed to defiantly end a crisis that the President López Obrador had personified in the heir to the Spanish throne. Sources from the royal household have emphasized that the exhibition visited by the head of state is part of a binational project that was born with the aspiration of strengthening the ties between both countries through the recognition of the historical importance of the native cultures and the fundamental role of women in indigenous communities of Mexico, precisely in this year, 2025, in which their figure is commemorated in this country. During the visit, the king was accompanied by director of the AECID, Spanish Agency for International Development Cooperation, Anton Lais Garcia, the Mexican ambassador to Spain, Quirino Ordaz Cobel, Andres Ciudad, a professor of anthropology at the Complutense University of Madrid, and a member of the exhibition's scientific committee, and the director of the National Archaeological Museum, Isabella Izquierdo. Among other pieces, Felipe VI viewed the pair of eagle warrior and jaguar warrior from Tehuacan, Puebla, the small Olmec terracotta figurines representing elderly women from the Gulf Coast, the priestess from the Palenque, a Mayan incense burner, and the powerful young woman from Amajac, a sculpture discovered a few years ago in Veracruz. Wow. I apologize for my absolute inability to say any indigenous languages. The exhibition is part of the ambitious exhibition program that began last November in several venues in Madrid to showcase the richness of Mexico's native cultures and the role of women in indigenous communities in a first-rate cultural operation framed with the phrase of thawing diplomatic relations between the two countries, and I think also following their celebration of what's the name of it? The Day of the Dead, because Spain, I don't think for the first time, but we did do a story about Spain celebrating the Day of the Dead, which is a Mexican holiday in Spain for one of the first times, I think, or it got wide acclaim for one of the first times. But that's my story on, I guess, some apology, I guess. I don't know. It sounds like the Mexican Prime Minister is like, I need more. She's not happy with what she got, but...
Right. Okay, so King Philippe VI.
Yes.
You say.
Mm-hmm.
My metaphor, he's a king with absolutely no power. He's just a figurehead, right?
Yeah.
And as Jim Morrison put it, a king without any power is like a dog without a bone. Or an actor out alone. He's a rider on the storm. No, he's not that, but... Again, nepotism, rearing its ugly head. Wasn't elected, he was just
also
born
good
from
morning
the right
snacks.
uterus.
I hope you had a good weekend, and thank you for stopping by for our news segment here. Dia de los Muertos.
Happy morning, well, afternoon, where everybody is.
No, I think most people watch the show in America, actually, so.
Okay, so, well,
I guess it's afternoon
morning.
For you.
It is.
Yeah, I guess it's afternoon for you.
Way past noon now. It is, well, let's spin it so we can talk about the weather before the weather actually affects the show, which I'm not counting on power staying on today, so not at all.
I'll give you an associate, I guess.
Associated, okay. Here's a short story, short, sweet, from the weather.com, the Weather Channel. Severe weather outbreak with widespread damaging winds. Tornadoes continues in East on Monday. Severe weather is ongoing in parts of the South, Midwest, and East through Monday. The threat of widespread damaging winds and tornadoes all possible. The severe outbreak is happening on the warm side of a winter storm named Iona by the Weather Channel. It has dumped several feet of snow in the Midwest. I've seen, by the way, my sister said, I'm leaving my garage open last week. I wonder if she closed the garage because they got about 30 inches of snow.
Ooh.
Anyway, and blowing and drifting snow, not just the stuff that just falls and it's harmless. It just makes it undrivable. More than 400 reports of severe weather occurred on Sunday, mainly from wind. One tornado was reported in Arkansas, and that number could go up as meteorologists survey the damage. Monday's threat will bring all modes of severe weather, damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. That's how Wisconsin never having snow thunder, right? They're out there shoveling snow, and bam, lightning and thunder happen. Oh man, that's got to be scary as shit, right? Snow thunder. Mm-hmm. Several thunderstorms are ongoing, taking form of a squall line, a long line of severe thunderstorms, damaging winds of over 70 miles per hour expected with the squall line. You remember those, right? Remember that time in Madison we were camping, and I think we had 40 different thunderstorms to roll through. I'm not exaggerating.
That was terrible. Yeah.
We being in the
tent, yeah. Water spilling into the bottom.
With the puppy. And Suki was just a puppy. He had to pee in the tent. She's like, I can't go outside. I'll pee in the tent. It's okay. You can pee in the tent.
And there's already water all over the floor.
And you're sitting there watching. You're just watching the skulls roll through on the.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already doing an associate for you, so I'm going to stop talking. Here's a list of the current tornado watches along the line of storms: northeastern North Carolina and Maryland to the Maryland-Pennsylvania border. That is a long squall line. That includes North Carolina and Virginia and all of Maryland. So a tornado watch is in central North Carolina, central Virginia. It's basically the same place. Florida Panhandle, Southern Carolina have a tornado watch. Western Florida Panhandle, a tornado watch. And a cold front is moving in behind that. A cold front, the intense Great Lakes low surges east. Thunderstorms, damaging winds will be widespread Monday across most of the east from northern Florida northeast. It includes 60 million people across the east under threat of severe weather. States like Washington, D.C., Raleigh, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, the greatest risk to experience severe weather. And guess where we are? Right in the middle of that. So I'm not expecting to go outside much today. We'll go outside until the weather starts, and then I'll probably just head downstairs and lock the pets downstairs and make sure they don't get blown away when the house disappears, right? I don't know. For now, NOAA's Storm Prediction Center has highlighted the area with the highest chance of severe weather from parts of the mid. This is not promising for yours truly. It's all red right by now. Even if a few tornadoes are possible Monday, either embedded in the squall line or any discrete rotating thunderstorms could flare up ahead of the line. Again, some could even be at EF2 or higher, greater. We could also see hail greater than 2 inches. So here we go. It's going to be a fun day today. Hopefully the damage is limited. Hopefully the tornadoes stay in the clouds. Let's have us an association. I don't know.
Well, I was trying to look up how much hail there was last weekend, because there's so much hail, right, that it was in the ground, right? It didn't melt.
Hail stone.
They weren't that big. I would say that it's been hailing. I want to say it's been hailing more often here, but I've only lived here for 8 years. But people who've lived there their whole lives have been saying it has been hailing. Yeah, it's been hailing way more often here, but not that big. Yeah, nothing dangerous that can break your head open. Mostly just tiny little, larger than snow. But
right.
It's been
literally
very
snow,
common.
because hail can happen in the
And
middle
hail,
of winter.
yeah, well, hail is really
when
dangerous.
When you get a tornado,
because it's an indicator of the conditions for a tornado. Yeah.
Right. The conditions for hailstorm and tornado are identical. You have high pressure meeting low pressure. And the high pressure on the ground keeps the rain from falling because it's not heavy enough. And it won't fall until it's heavy enough. And when does it become heavy enough? It becomes a big blob of ice. And then it smacks right onto your car, right onto your house, right? And by the thousands falling out of the sky. The opposite is the low pressure goes under the high pressure and you get a tornado. So, two things.
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened here, right? This is my associate. We had really warm weather last week.
Right.
I want to say it was around 20 degrees, which is probably like 70, almost 70 degrees. Basically, oddly enough, our weather is very similar to Maryland's weather right now, which is crazy because we're not in the same place or the same latitude or anything. And it was really warm last week, and then this weekend it dropped to 5 degrees, which is basically right above freezing. And that's what caused the hail, right? It was very warm, and then suddenly, cold front. Hello! Time to get all icy up in here. So, hopefully...
Yeah, and a cold front is cold air heavier. Cold air is heavier than a warm air. This is another variable. So cold air will sink, right? So you have low pressure, and you have cold weather, and you're going to get yourself some huge freaking hailstones. Anyway.
But
if that
I guess that's my associate.
Pressure is hot. If that high pressure is hot, it's the whole opposite, right?
Yeah.
All right, then. I guess we're just going to do another story.
Yep, another story, please.
Another story, and then we'll pass it on. We're going to talk about Epstein's ranch. We are not burying Epstein's story behind body counts in Iran, which is going to be the new thing. Where the government says we've killed 6,000 people. And Iran, by the way, is a almost completely Muslim country, and they have a thing where they have to bury the bodies in 24 hours of the dead. And since you can actually count the number of funerals on the ground in Iran. You know how many dead people they are, and it ain't 6,000. So they're lying
also
about that.
Also reminded that Iran
lying.
is a bigger country than Afghanistan too. I saw this argument that people were like, "Oh yeah,
it's the size of Alaska."
They couldn't conquer, quote unquote, conquer Afghanistan, right? And they have 10% or 10% less people, or something like that. Maybe even more.
Iran has been preparing for this war for 47 years. They've been preparing for this war for 47 years, not only against us, but against Israel. We have been preparing for this war by saber rattling for years and years and years, and that's it. That's all we've ever done. We have no clue about what's going on over there. I'm sure our spy agencies have all kinds of information that they're going to ignore. But yeah, it's a futility. Anyway, it's only there. This war is only there for one reason: to distract from the Epstein files. And that's the only reason, because we keep crap. And one of those things that we found out was, hey, the Trump administration killed a search of the Zorro Ranch. Why did they do that? The Times.com, I believe it's the London Times, searching Epstein's Zorro Ranch, agents hope it's not too late. Edward Helmore has the story. The arch gate to Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch, the former home of the sex trafficker in the high plains of northern New Mexico, were firmly closed and guarded last week. This is up in Santa Fe County, in case you're curious, not nowhere near where we used to live. But state investigators were combing the imposing home that locals call the biggest Motel 6 in the West, and it's 10,000 acres of rolling desert grasses and scrub. That's a lot of land, a lot of places to hide bodies. This is the first time it's been searched. It was not included in the investigations after Epstein's arrest, when Epstein's home in New York and the Caribbean were raided. Whoa! Who was president in 2019? Anybody? Anybody out there? Trump was. That's right. Yeah, let's not search there because he knew. Because they knew. Let's not search there. Let's not find evidence. Who wants to find evidence?
No.
You might discover something.
Finding evidence? Yeah. That's not good.
Don't embarrass these rich people, whatever you do, because, we all know rich people are better, right? They're just better people somehow, right? Aren't they? Yeah, sure they are. We have what may have taken place at the 26,700 square foot ranch. That doesn't seem like a big ranch, does it? Maybe I'm lost. Maybe he means the ranch house. I don't know. Is the focus of New Mexico's investigators acting under a newly established Truth Commission and formal investigation into allegation of illegal activity. Information released in January, Epstein filed by U.S. Department of Justice included an anonymous tip to Albuquerque radio host Eddie Aragon. Somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on the orders of Jeffrey and Madam G, the anonymous sender wrote, referring to Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. I know if there are bodies buried there, but good luck, said a local. He said, I don't know if there's bodies there, said Sean, a local whose stepfather had leased Epstein's land for cattle until ordered off because the billionaire was concerned about them staying on his private jet runway. Oh no, there's gonna be cattle on my private runway. I'm so special with my rape rooms. Sean declined to give his first name. That ranch is so big with so many caves and arroyos. Yeah, I suppose. Others recall being told that Victoria's he had his whole Zorro theme going with the little cabooses to have lunch in, said a woman who declined to be identified. Rode horses on the ranch, she said, and did the house beautifully, the linen, the dishes, the whole room full of water bottles. But she was also part of the evil. Locals estimate that Epstein kept as many as 40 quarter horses for show and jumping at the Zorro, but they say they rarely saw him. People who worked on the ranch now being asked by investigators to come forward. So as this investigation takes hold, there's a lot to uncover. Again, it's a trail that grown cold for decades because, hey, they've had plenty of time to go back, dig up those bodies and move them. So I think that probably happened about 2019 when Epstein died. They probably had sent somebody out there to dig up those bodies, move them somewhere else, burn them, incinerate them, whatever the hell they do with the bodies. They're probably not there anymore. Because
easy
as we
to
know,
cover up.
What else happened in 2019? Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. Donald Trump's is divorced his ex-wife, Ivana Trump. Remember her?
Mm-hmm.
She fell down the stairs, even though she has an elevator in her house and she's in a wheelchair. She fell down the stairs right before she was about to testify against Trump. So many coincidences in 2019. Just add up conspiracy and murder and cover up and everything else. So let's have us association. Having lived in New Mexico, you know what it's like there.
Well, you definitely wouldn't want to bury a body. Well, maybe you would want to bury
it'd be carried
a body
off.
there.
It'd be carried off by buzzards within hours.
Yeah,
seriously.
Sure. Maybe that's a good way to that's a good way to clean it up too. Get a ranch in the middle of nowhere, put a body there, and then let the coyotes and birds eat them up, and then I guess get the bones and
I'm just saying,
burn those.
I have zero hope. I have zero hope they will find any.
It reminds me.
I mean,
yeah, it reminds me of the plot of a Bones episode. That's what I associate this with. You know, a Bones episode where she was all about the different ways you can get rid of a body in that show. And I'm pretty sure there's an episode about this.
Door at Epstein.
Yeah.
He had a trap door at Epstein Island that led directly to the ocean, like when a tide can. So you could just drop a fucking body through the fucking hole. And just
I thought
take
it was
out the
just
sea
more of a
when the tide
secret
goes out,
entrance, so nobody knows when you're coming in.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a secret. Well, it can be anything. It's a trap door.
Yeah.
Trap doors are for getting rid of people. You don't put a trap door to fuck. Hey, my friends love trap doors. They like falling to their death, 40 feet into the ocean. That's a fun thing. No, I'm pretty sure it was a trap door to get rid of bodies.
Okay. I
evil
love Bones
is evil,
too. It's
man.
one of my
Don't
favorite crime shows.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Trump is I can't picture Trump doing that. It's like, why can't you picture him doing that? Look at the piece of shit he is. He talks about dating his daughter, which I believe happened, by the way. I believe he definitely did. Man, there's no way this guy. There's no moral compass whatsoever. But yeah, you can go ahead and defend him.
Scumbag
anyway, let's do something else besides
this. Segway roll.
That's right. Excellent. Close the wrong story. Woo. All right.
Get your pen and paper out. You need to make me a haiku. This is one story, and it's pretty long. Long enough. We're going to be talking about... I don't remember what we're talking about. Let me look up the story. Where's my stories? Where is my stories? I lost my story there. We're going to be talking about Poland being a great example of economic growth because they were able to turn shit around within like 25 years or something. This is a story on AP News.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. I'm sure they'll give me an actual number. This is a story from AP News by Claudia Sayobanu and David McHugh. Coming out of Poznan, Poland. A generation ago, Poland rationed sugar and flour while its citizens were paid 1/10 what West Germans earned. Today, the economy of the country has edged past Switzerland to become the world's 20th largest with more than $1 trillion in annual output. It's a historic leap from the post-communist ruins of 1989 to 90 to the European growth champion, which economists say has lessons on how to bring prosperity to ordinary people. The transformation is reflected in people like Joanna Kowalska, an engineer from Poznan, a city of around 500,000 people in midway between Berlin and Warsaw. She returned home after 5 years in the US. I get asked often if I missed something by coming back to Poland, and to be honest, I feel it's the other way around, Kowalska said. We are ahead of the United States in so many areas, like public transport and healthcare, I'm sure. Kowalska works at the Poznan Supercomputing and Networking Center, which is developing the first artificial intelligence factory in Poland and integrating it with a quantum computer, one of the 10 of the continent financed by a European Union program. Kowalska worked for Microsoft in the US after graduating from the Poznan University of Technology, in a job she saw as a dream come true. But she missed having a sense of a mission, she said. Especially when it comes to artificial intelligence. The technology started developing so rapidly in Poland, Kowalska said, so it was very tempting to come back. The guest invitation to the G20 summit is mostly symbolic for Poland. No guest country has been promoted to a full member since the original G20 met at the finance minister level in 1999, when Poland was still post-communism. And that would take consensus decision of all the members. Moreover, the original countries were chosen not just by gross domestic product rank, but by their systematic significance in the global economy. So they're saying Poland isn't systematically significant yet. But the gesture reflects a statistical truth. In 35 years, sorry, not 25, but 35 years, a little less than one person's working lifetime, Poland's per capita GDP rose to 55,340 in 2025, a 85% increase over the EU average. That's up from 6,000, so from 6,730 in 1990 to 55,000 in 2025, or a 38% of the EU average, and now roughly equal to Japan's 52,039 according to International Monetary Fund figures measured in today's dollars and adjusted for Poland's lower cost of living. That's another bonus, lower cost of living. People always say, oh, in Europe you don't make that much money. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't cost that much to live in Europe. So you have more money in general, right? People, oh, your taxes.
Right.
They take 10% of your taxes.
Your car with gas to drive 70 miles to commute. No, nobody's doing that in Europe.
No. There are some people who do that.
No train service in America.
Yeah. Poland's economy has grown an average of 3.8% a year since joining the EU in 2004, easily beating the European average of 1.8%. It wasn't simply one factor that helped Poland break out of poverty trap, says Marcin Piatkowski of Warsaw's Koziminski University and author of a book on the country's economic rise. One of the most important factors was rapidly building a strong institutional framework for business, he said. That included independent courts, an anti-monopoly agency to ensure fair competition. Wait a minute, that sounds like regulation! And a strong regulation to keep troubled banks from choking off credit. Wow! Don't tell the banks. Don't tell the banks. As a result, the economy wasn't hijacked by corrupt practices and oligarchs, as happened elsewhere in the post-communist world. And in non-communist countries too. Poland also benefited from billions of euros in EU aid, both before and after it joined the bloc in 2004 and gained access to its huge single market. Above all, there was the broad consensus from across the political spectrum that Poland's long-term goal was joining the EU. Poles knew where they were going, Piatkowski said. Poland downloaded the institutions and the rules of the game, and even some cultural norms that West spent 500 years developing. As oppressive as it was, communism contributed by breaking down old social barriers and opening higher education to factory and farm workers who had no chance before. That's right, there are some good things in communism. Don't tell anybody. There's some good stuff that happens when you socialize a country. A post-communist boom in higher education means half of the young people now have degrees. Young Poles are, for instance, better educated than young Germans, Piatkowski said, but earn half what Germans do. That's an unbeatable combination for attracting investors, he said. Solaris, a company founded in 1996 in Poznan by Krzysztof Olszewski, is one of the leading manufacturers of electric buses in Europe, with a market share of around 15%. Its story shows one hallmark of Poland's success: entrepreneurship, or the willingness to take risks to build something new. Educated as an engineer under the communist government, Olszewski opened a car repair shop where he used to spare parts from West Germany to fix Polish cars. While most enterprises were nationalized, authorities gave permission to small-scale private workshops like his to operate, according to the Katarzyna Siarzek, an economist at the Poznan University of Economics and Business. These were enclaves of private entrepreneurship, she said. In 1996, Olszewski opened a subsidiary of the German bus company Newplan and planned producing for the Polish market. Poland's entry into the EU in 2004 gave us credibility and access to a vast, open European market with the free movement of goods, services, and people, said Matthias Figaszewski, responsible for the institutional relations. Then came a risky decision to start producing electric buses in 2011, a time when few in Europe were experimenting with technology. Figaszewski said larger companies in the West had more to lose if switching to electric vehicles didn't work out. But they were small, so they didn't have much to lose at all. It became an opportunity to achieve technological leadership ahead of the market, he said. Challenges still remain for Poland due to low birth rate in aging society. Fewer workers will be able to support retirees. Average wages are lower than the EU average. While small and medium enterprises flourish, few have become global brands. That's why there's a lot of Polish people working in other countries. They get paid more in other countries. Poznan Mayor Jacek Jakowiak says domestic innovation as a third wave in Poland's post-socialist economic development. In the first wave, foreign countries opened factories in Poland in the early 1990s, taking advantage of skilled local population. Around the turn of the millennium, he said, Western companies brought more advanced branches, including finance, information technology, engineering. Now it is time to start sophisticated activities here, he says, adding that one of his main priorities is investing in universities. That there's still much to do when it comes to innovation and technological progress, added Siarzek, the Poznan economist, but we keep climbing up on the ladder of added value. We no longer are just a supplier of spare parts. Siarzek's students say more needs to be done to reduce urban-rural inequalities, make housing affordable, and support young people starting families. They say Poles need to acknowledge that immigrants, such as the millions of Ukrainians who fled Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, contribute to the economic development of the aging population. Also, Polish people yelling at Ukrainians for being immigrants when they're the largest immigrant force in the rest of Europe is just like, come on, guys. Stop being hypocrites. Poland has such a dynamic economy with so many opportunities for development that of course I'm staying, said Kazimierz Falak, 27, of one of Siarzek's graduate students. Poland is promising. So there you go. There's your news on how you can turn your economy around by not letting oligarchs take over and banks control your entire economy and having reforms and anti-monopoly regulations. Don't tell anybody else that you can have a thriving economy by doing that.
All right, democracy on the march, I hope, anyway. That's what my haiku's about, anyway. Let's, haiku!
Yes, give me your haiku.
Democracy works. Let's do it. All right, democracy works when it's properly applied. Polls went to the polls.
Not your pun as well.
Yeah, no, it's a pun. I gotta combine things. I can't just have a regular hike.
But there you go. There's my news on Poland.
View.
Thank you, Tommy, for begging Elixir.
Yes.
Like 5 hours after you came to the stream. You didn't forget.
That's right.
Let's roll our segue wheel for your stories, which you're going to talk about. Something. I got some sarcasm for you, so give me your news.
Oh, this ought to be good. This story is going to be full of sarcasm by me, so I'm going to apologize in advance. Burger King. We talked about the king of Spain. What about the king of burgers? Well, he got fired. How do you fire a king? Well, this story. Business Insider has this story. Lara O'Reilly. Who played Bill O'Reilly. Let's do it live. Burger King splashed on Oscar ads to admit mistakes, promise changes. This is from Lara O'Reilly from CMO Insider newsletter. Actually, she has her newsletter. Burger King's new ad campaign says the customer is king. Burger King took the crown for the Oscars 2026 ad domination and set spots and got host red plus throughout the ceremony. That's crazy, right? Gold Conan taking money under the table from Burger King. Anyway, its main ad saw the fast food chain fess up to missteps and promise changes. And the Oscar for the splashiest ad campaign during the 2026 Academy Awards goes to Burger King. The fast food giant went big to ensure its brand was all over the Oscars this year. The spots during the commercial breaks and on-air host mentions of its sponsorship at key moments throughout the ceremony. The standout ad was a 90-second mea culpa. Oh my God, you got to buy a lot of money for that. A lot of money for a 90-second ad in the Academy Awards. It's one of TV's bigger watched events that people still watch TV. And there's a new king and it's you spot. Burger King owned up to its past mistakes, like slow service, burgers that got squished by substandard package, and fast food that fell off. The company said it fired its king mascot, reinvested in its restaurants, and improved its decade-old Whopper burger recipe. The Oscars Blitz forms part of Burger King's recent premiumization push. Woof, that sounds scary. I love the new speak of advertising where they just, we're doing synergy. I love those words. Just make shit up. Make up words.
Here's some marketing speak.
Earlier this year, Burger King. Yeah, premiumization. Yeah, in other words, bullshit. Yeah, that's right. Advertising is all bullshit, all of it. And in Burger King, they're selling you bull plate and bullshit on the air, right?
Hey.
This year, Burger King gave out a phone number for customers to call or text as U.S. or Canada. Of course, Burger King is a Canadian company, by the way. They're owned by Tom.
Really?
What's
I had no idea.
Yeah, they were bought a Canadian company. Anyway, they're for customers to call. Earlier this year, Burger King gave out a phone number. A customer call or text as U.S. or Canada President Tom Curtis and directly check about this. Curtis told Business Insider's Catherine Tangalakis Lippit month that he had received voicemails and with the Whopper this the top topics. You say one another of Burger ads that aired in the night directly customer feedback to improve the Whopper. Curtis has played high-profile role in King's recent marketing efforts. He provided the voiceover for a new King and it's you ad earlier this month. Dude, you can't even hire an announcer? Cheapskate. Anyway, earlier this year, Curtis took a huge bite of the burger in a social media slap with McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczynski's big arch taste test. I don't know, maybe we should play that video at some point. The McDonald's chief got roasted by social media users at rival fast food chains over his wooden delivery and dainty, like a mouse-sized bite out of a giant hamburger.
Oh, right, I saw that video.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I get a giant hamburger. And he called it product. And he described his own food as product. That's some good product. And then he spit it into a napkin and went and washed his mouth out and shit his pants.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they put a
fail.
guy who never eats the food on.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just a little lame.
Fail. I mean, they had the option. It wasn't a live stream. They had the option to not post it, right?
No, it was
just delete the footage. Never happened. They decided to post it. Yeah, very weird.
Too late to delete it now. Can't delete it now. Everybody saved it. Everybody saved it to make fun of it.
It's a meme now.
Congratulations. Everybody's stitching your video. Way to go, morons. Anyway, Burger King set the wheels in motion for its turnaround in 22. That was 4 years ago, with the launch of its $400 million Reclaim the Frame strategy. The program included a refurbishment of restaurants, the modernization of its shake machines always work like McDonald's, right? And a significant investment in advertising. Burger King parent company Restaurant Brands International said on Friday that it intends to invest up to $700 million in their Reclaim the Flame plan through the end of 28. Burger King's same-store U.S. sales rose 2.6% in December of 25 and quarter of the December 25 quarter, and increased 1.6 in the financial year. I don't know if that means fiscal year or financial year. I don't know if that, but probably, I would say. Fiscal years in September. Why do fiscal years end in September? So they can figure shit out by the end of the year. That's why. Anyway, managing partner at the creative agency, Elvis, said Burger King's Oscar push is likely to land well with viewers because the self-depreciating, authentic approach stands out from a broader trend of glitzy ad campaigns that lean heavily on A-list celebrities. They managed to bring together an operational optimization. There's your institutional words right there, boy. Oh, I love corporate speak. Operational optimization with this interesting way of talking directly to the audience with their president. Yates told Business Insider in an interview. As you noticed, I'm really snarky about this. And I definitely don't care about advertising. All I actually care about is which one of these restaurants is going to give me my giant protein tablet for less money. That's all I actually care about. I know it's genetically engineered.
Protein tablet.
It's not necessarily actually food, but I need some protein. So I'm going to stop you as long as you're saving me money. That's like, I just go on the app and I look for the best deal for the one that's near me, and I have no brand loyalty. Zero brand loyalty. I've never had it. I don't even see it how it even is anyone's advantage to have brand loyalty. Why would you have brand loyalty? Anyway, let's have us a sarcasm, which I am dripping with it. Anyway.
I'm a pretty loyal person, but the only thing I've ever been brand loyal to is like internet stuff, like what websites I go on. I've never cared about what restaurants I go.
You are actually, in that case, you're being an educated consumer and you're making a choice based on what's best for you. Brand loyalty is a sham. It's just a fucking sham. I'm sorry. I'm sticking with Coca-Cola, even if they put piss in it. Okay. Good luck. You know, it makes no sense to me.
And honestly, that was my favorite flavor of Coca-Cola, so it was really sad when they got rid of it.
Piss flavored? Piss flavored cola? Yeah. They made a mistake when they made it yellow, right? Yeah, they should have just made it brown. They should have made it brown. It could have been shit water and he would have drank it. Hey, shit water! Woo! Yeah!
I've never been a Coca-Cola fan myself, though. I don't really like any of the... I like Dr. Pepper.
Wait. Okay, but having had to drink American Coke since this, I think it was the 70s or 80s when they started putting corn syrup in it instead of sugar because sugar got expensive. There was a sugar embargo. All right, having raised on actual Coke that before corn syrup and drinking Mexican Coke or European Coke, which has sugar in it, you should be glad you have Coke or that has sugar on it because American Coke is terrible. It's fucking terrible. I go to the stores, I see the Mexican, because they started selling it, by the way. They started selling Mexican Coke in America because people hated the frickin'... that's one thing Trump was right about.
Why don't they just... I guess there's still people who like the high fructose one, I guess. So that's why they keep selling it.
That's the only thing Trump was right about. He's right. He's right about Mexican Coke being better, and he probably should have passed some law that said Coca-Cola can't use corn syrup. But I'm sure the corn syrup lobby got to him, paid him off, and he shut the fuck up.
As always, it was probably a lobby's decision to keep using the bad,
if there's
disgusting
a lobbyist out there that wants to give me money, I'm going to rip on your product until you give me some money, and I'll stop ripping on it. That's basically how that works. All right, let's have a spin for my dumb stories.
All
I have
right.
one more.
You have one more story?
No, I don't. I don't have any more stories.
Yeah, okay. I rolled accurate metaphor assembly for you again, so I'm going to re-roll because we already did that.
Oh.
We already did that.
A 3.
Okay, mixed metaphor technically is a different thing. So mix that metaphor for me for our culture news, because what do we have? Of course, we have our update on the Oscars, which I did not watch. I saw the live stream, I think, at some point, but I did not actually watch it because I don't watch. I don't want to give them my viewership numbers. I'll be honest.
Halfway point.
Yeah. I just don't want to give them my viewership
numbers. It was on Hulu,
numbers.
which is so I was able to watch it.
They also had a live. They also had a live. They had the what do you call it? The ASL version on YouTube. Yeah, they had an ASL for YouTube, so cool. I saw that on my list, but I didn't click it.
You'll be
Anyways,
happy.
That's not the point.
Did you see? Did you see who won for best?
I'm about to find out who's won stuff because I'm gonna read the key takeaways. So just let me figure it out as we read through it, because I have no idea what happened. This is Adrian Horton on The Guardian. Warner's winning. It was always going to be a banner Oscars year for Warner Bros., leading the race with 2 major films of the season, Sinners and one battle after another. The perfect end to a perfect year of critical and commercial hits for the studio. But with 11 wins tonight, or I guess last night, by far the biggest tally for any company, the evening really did serve a reminder of how much Warner's has achieved in its year of greenlighting dangerously, or at least at the risk-averse time. It couldn't come at a more depressing intersection of the studio as it prepares to fall under the ownership of Paramount Skydance and the Ellisons, its future looking unsure. Paramount might have been a major contender back in the day with Best Picture winners including The Godfather, Ordinary People, and Forrest Gump, but it's been mostly absent of late, bar Top Gun Maverick. Hard to imagine the studio, which now relies almost exclusively on reanimating rusty IP, will care much about auteurs and awards. That's what Benjamin Lee from The Guardian says. Conan pitches for a lifetime appointment. If Conan O'Brien is one thing, it is game. Down to be the butt of the joke, to commit fully to any inane bit, to try harder and do more than anyone for a laugh. Look no further than his opening pre-taped segment this year, in which he donned weapon-style makeup and flailed about the sickly edited sets of several movies while chased by a horde of children. The comedian's second outing as Oscars host was a step up from his solid start last year. Looser, sillier, more confident, definitely threading the needle between politically aware and good-natured, and never without an obvious appreciation for the art of movies and jokes. A mid-show appearance from former longtime host Jimmy Kimmel to present the documentary award served only to underscore how much better suited Conan is for this job, and any late-night show. I think everyone agrees Conan was the best late-night host. I don't know why they got rid of him, but Kimmel, with his pointed and gracious jabs at the president who always take the bait.
I'm a Letterman guy myself.
And stays the center of attention, may be right, but he is not nearly as fun. A post-show bit riffing on Sean Penn's fate in one battle after another facetiously proclaimed Conan's Oscar host for life for a punchline. But I think, unlike him, we should take this seriously. Please make this a permanent appointment, according to Adrian Horton on The Guardian. Chalamet out. It's odd that even at the age of 30, people have been claiming it was finally Timothée Chalamet's time to win an Oscar. It wasn't just that the actor had been nominated twice before for Call Me By Your Name and A Complete Unknown, or had starred in contenders such as the Dune films, Lady Bird, and Little Women, but he had just been so very present throughout each campaign, increasingly inescapable and doing the one thing actors aren't supposed to do, admit that he really wanted to win. His all-guns-blazing performance in Marty Supreme was rightly acclaimed by all, as the film became a surprise box office hit over Christmas. My friend who's seen the film, because I haven't seen the film, my friend who's seen the film said he couldn't finish it because he did not like Marty Supreme, the character. He's like, I'm supposed to want to watch this guy for like an hour more? I'm good. I'm done. This guy pisses me off. So I guess he did a good job acting if he makes you turn the film off because he's so unlikable. It seemed like it was his to lose, but the line between his obnoxious character and the actor himself started to blur as press tour turned into awards tour, and we reached the umpteenth month of the longest Oscar season on record. And the more voters saw and heard from him, the less likely his win became, with Michael B. Jordan taking Best Actor award home instead. Chalamet surely has an Oscar in him, just ask Chalamet, but the Academy loves to make younger male heartthrobs wait their turn. Just ask DiCaprio. That's from Benjamin Lee on The Guardian. Villains come out on top. Aunt Gladys is a real piece of work. The flame-haired weapons antagonist is a textbook villain, preying on children so that she can steal their life force through black magic ritual that involves locks of hair, a spiky wand, and other witchy accoutrements that she carries in her carpet bag. In Amy Madigan's brilliantly dotty and even touchy portrayal, she's also the kind of character that can power a breathtaking award season run all the way to Best Supporting Actress Oscar. No one should have seen Madigan's win coming 12 months ago. A sure bet would have been Sean Penn's Stephen J. Lockjaw's the militant racist of one battle after another, whose villainy seems much more close to home. You can imagine Penn's brilliant embodiment of the loathsome Lockjaw as being a sure award season bet no matter the year. But Madigan's win points to a future where a freaky performance in a genre film isn't a strike against you on Hollywood's biggest night, said Owen Myers of The Guardian. Scary good night for horror. Just last year, it seemed like the horror genre was set for a major breakthrough at the Oscars, but films like The Substance and Nosferatu could only scrape together one win between their combined 9 nominations, the former nabbing just makeup and hairstyling. Cut to this year, and things are far less frightening. Sinners a horror film, I guess it is. Sinners took home 4, Frankenstein won 3, and Weapons grabbed 1, with 2 of this year's major acting wins coming from scary movies. It served as this year the horror fans had been waiting for, especially those who still smart over performances such as Toni Collette in Hereditary or Lupita Nyong'o's in Us being snubbed entirely. With any snobbery older voters might have once had over rewarding witches, vampires, and monsters seemingly slaughtered by the newer, less easily scared Academy, said Benjamin Lee. Politics was center stage, as it always is, let's be honest. For years, it seemed to be given that the politics in Hollywood's biggest night simply didn't miss. Despite impactful moments for Marlon Brando in 1973, with Sachin Littlefeather collecting the Best Actor Oscar on his behalf. To Jonathan Glazer in 2024, the director compared the Israel-Gaza conflict to the Holocaust. This year seemed to signal a new attitude. Here we had Javier Bardem saying Free Palestine while presenting 2 whoops from the audience. Joachim Trier criticizing politicians who don't have the next generation's best interest at heart. And Best Picture winner Paul Thomas Anderson denouncing the housekeeping mess that we have left the world in. Judging by the reaction in the Dolby Theater, they were far from the only ones who felt the same, said Owen Myers. Big tech is a big loser. In a year when the encroachment of generative AI in Hollywood has become impossible to ignore, just ask Ben Affleck, whose furtive filmmaker-focused AI company was just bought by Netflix. There was a notable undercurrent of anti-tech resistance, or at least skepticism. Coursing through the Oscars, starting with O'Brien's opening joke of the telecast about being the last human host of the show, there were good-natured but still pointed jabs at Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos in his first time in a theater, and the futility of chopping up classics for TikTok, as well as bit spoofing the reported mandate from streaming companies to keep reiterating the character and plot for distracted phone-addled viewers. Most pointed was Will Arnett presenting for animation, a genre many an AI professional believes can and should be fully ceded to the machine. Tonight we celebrate people, not AI, because animation is more than a prompt. It's an art form and it needs to be protected, Arnett said. We'll see if the hearty cheers Arnett received from that line actually translate into meaningful action, says Adrian Horton. Goodbye, Oscar bait? Ever since the Miramax machine dominated the Oscars from the late 90s into the 2000s, the idea of Oscar bait highlighted the difference between what the Academy thought was worthy and what the rest of us did. Stodgy biopics, labored actorly transformations, ungainly adaptions, anything directed by Lasse Hallström. It was an all far cry from edgier winners of the past like Midnight Cowboy or The French Connection or The Lost Weekend. But the diversified Academy with more voters who are female, international, and of color have changed our concept of what Oscar movie is now. So in the year after Honor swept the main categories, now we've had one battle after another, and Sinners win big, 2 daring, hard-to-define films that do not in any way represent Oscar bait. Are you sure? I would say Sinners is a slavery time black rights movie, which for me is Oscar bait. Let's talk about how much black people have suffered in history. Give me an Oscar. That seems pretty Oscar bait to me, but that's my opinion. It's not as if this year's nominees don't fall into the category, it's just that the voters are less likely to pick them, with films like Hamnet winning just 1 award and Train Dreams winning 0, said Benjamin Lee. Musical moments stole the show. After making a shameless play for Gen Z viewers with a James Bond medley last year, last night's musical performances felt both modern and worthy of Hollywood's biggest stage. Dancers and musicians flooded the stage in ambitious recreations of Sinners Pierce the Veil sequence, with guests including musician Brittany Howard and ballet dancer Misty Copeland. At the center, Miles Canton and Raphael Sadiq shone through the curated chaos, which is no small feat. And while they've seen K-pop Demon Hunters trio of Ege, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami pop up on seemingly daily basis this award season, the performance of the original song Golden was inventive as well as deserved victory lap, with dancers gliding across the stage wearing traditional Korean hanbok. But the personal pick for The Guardian musical moment of the night goes to Barbra Streisand. After a touching spoken tribute to Robert Redford, Streisand picked up the mic and sang a few bars of The Way We Were, the theme from the 1973 romance of the same name. Her voice, changed with time, seemed to give familiar song a new kind of touching power, says Owen Myers. I saw a post on my social media that somebody was questioning why there were Koreans in why are there Korean wearing kimonos, and then everyone's like, those aren't kimonos, they're hanbok. No, they're totally kimonos. As a kimono owner myself, first of all, you're not Korean, so shut the fuck up. You owning kimonos doesn't mean you know what kimonos are. Shut the fuck up. It was just a stupid white lady. Anyways, that's my little rant on people being stupid on my social media. It was a race that had seemed impossible to call for some, and in the last few weeks, many had started to bet that Sinners was going to come on top. Odds have improved, and pundits from major publications, including The Guardian, had put their chips on Ryan Coogler's Vampire Saga to take home the top prize. The vibe ship had been largely the result of the SAG Actors Awards, which saw Sinners take the Ensemble Prize as well as surprise Best Actor win for Michael B. Jordan. But the Ensemble Award is rarely a surefire predictor of the Best Picture success. Previous winners have included The Trial in Chicago, 7, Hidden Figures, Black Panther, 3 Billboards, American Hustle, and last year Conclave. And instead, every other more reliable precursor confirmed what may have long been known. It was always going to be one battle after another. It had won the Golden Globe, the PGA, the DGA, the BAFTA, and the Critics' Choice Award. While the race is far less mathematically predictable than it once was, a season-long sweep is hard to ignore, says Benjamin Lee. Is this the last section? Oh, there's still more sections. 3 more sections. Women were central. The Oscars also a nod to a sentimentally celebrate the trailblazers came before, but there was a particular resonance this year in tributes to women who broke barriers old and new, many of whom never got their flowers. There was Cassandra Koulakindis, the first ever Oscar-winning casting director for One Battle After Another, who shouted out the many casting directors before her who never received Academy recognition. Rachel McAdams, who honored the life of the incomparable Diane Keaton and reminded, "There isn't an actress of my generation who is not inspired by and enthralled with her absolute singularity." Jessie Buckley, now the first Irish winner of Best Actress, who thanked all the incredible women that I stand beside. "I am inspired by your art, your heart, and I want to work with you, every single one of you." And notably, Autumn Durald Arkapow, the director of photography for The Sinners, who became the first ever women to win for cinematography. That's why women can also use camera. They can use camera. Yes, in 2026, we are still breaking glass ceilings in major categories. I'm so honored to be here, and I really want all women in the room to stand up because I feel like I don't get here without you guys, she said, in perhaps the most pointed and generous of many nods to female solidarity throughout the night, says Adrian Horton. International features failed to break through, sadly. After a strong showing for international film in recent years with Anatomy of the Fall's original screenplay win in 24, and 4 Oscars for All Quiet on the Western Front the year before, it seemed like they were due for another banner year for foreign language features. Norway's Sentimental Value picked up 9 nominations this year, while Brazil, The Secret Agent, was riding strong tailwinds in the wake of Wagner Moura's Golden Globe win. Ultimately, they walked away with just 1 between them, Best International Feature for Sentimental Value, awarded to Norway, which felt like a short shift for Moura's powerful performance as a world-weary former professor living through a dictatorship in another year. Moura, as well as Sentimental Value's Rena Rensiv, could have dominated the lead acting categories. It's some consolation that more film fans have had to experience their brilliance, Owen Myers. And where was Sean Penn? In a surprise to few, Sean Penn won for Best Supporting Actor for his singularly repulsive, undeniable performance in One Battle After Another. In a surprise to many, maybe just a few, he was not there to collect his 3rd Oscar. He previously won Best Actor twice for Mystic River in 2004 and for Milk in 2009, both 2 really good films. The 65-year-old actor and activist, long uncomfortable with the spotlight and ambivalent about award seasons, relatable, opted to skip the ceremony, instead flying to Europe for a planned trip to Ukraine, according to unidentified sources, who spoke with the New York Times. Wow, that's a great PR for the Ukraine though, right? Sorry, I'm not the Oscars. I went to go help Ukraine, something that's important. That's not the uncharacteristic move for Penn, who has befriended the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who is also an actor, by the way. And more famously, El Chapo, on assignment for Rolling Stone in 2016, the thoughts on his absence at the Dolby Theatre could perhaps best be summed up by presenter Kira Culkin, who said with a smirk and a shrug, Sean Penn couldn't be here this evening and didn't want to, so I'll be accepting the award on his behalf. Adrian Horton. I love that. Good for him. I completely agree. Fuck, who cares about the Oscars? It's just well, look, we're so great. We're amazing. We made art. Look at us. Pat on the back, which is why I don't watch it myself. But congratulations, all the people who got their golden trophies, and for the people who've been given the spotlight, and for who didn't have the spotlight before, because that is, for me, that's the only good thing about the Oscars, is saying, hey guys, did you know about this director or this cinematographer or these actors or this movie? Have you ever heard of these? Oh, you didn't know about them? Well, now you do. Go watch them. Go hire these people. Give them jobs. And that's always been my only good thing about the Oscars for me, anyways. I hope that was long enough for you. Because it was very long.
Wait. That was way.
Now we never have to talk about it until next year. Yay!
Yeah, I guess I had a mixed metaphor, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Chalamet hate is like a slow drip of stupidity in America. I have this for 64 years. So don't understand it. Why everybody's hating on a guy for an opinion or whatever. Not most opinion. We got bigger fish to fry in this country. And I'm sure glad Michael B. Jordan is the first. He's the first African American actor to win Best Actor since Will Smith, who, of course, slapped the host. And I was going round of applause that wasn't completely fake, like the Will Smith one would get beat. The Will Smith, after he should have been arrested for attacking the host, and everybody fakes their fucking applause by getting on their feet. And it's like, boy, but that fakest insincere applause in the history of anything, right? Anyway, so good for Mike Jordan, right?
Yeah, he deserves it because he's been a great actor. I mean, he was in the
Michael Jordan.
I think his first role.
Yeah.
I think his first role was in Creed, right? Like that was his first breakout role, and he was really good in Creed, but he didn't get anything.
And I don't know. I don't know movies, but you did you cover the best original song winner?
Yes, we talked about that. It was the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I was
talking about how
for you that K-pop won, even though weren't my favorite in that category. Yeah. My favorite was Nick Cage, because that would have been cool. Yeah. Nick Cage make a speech, but they did award the K-pop people who wrote the song and performed the song, and the singer got up there, she made her speech, and then one of the guys back there in tuxedo started talking. Yes, I heard about this. And here comes the music. Brr, brr.
Yeah, he was taking out his papers
off. They didn't
to read
anybody off.
Yeah,
they didn't cut
the whole show.
Off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and it happened.
They started to cut off, but the next presenter was.
I heard that also happened to the Parasite director as well.
The next presenter. Yeah, but the show just runs along. They got to cut people off somewhere. But the next presenter, by the way, after that was Adrian Brody, who went on extensively too long last year, and then he made fun of himself by pulling out a big old sheet of paper with, cliff notes and post-it notes all over it, and then he tucked it back in, and he just gave a ridiculous speech as the music started to play, right? They made a little gag out of it. He pulls out the piece of paper. It's basically a cluster of papers with post-it notes all over it. And he starts starting the music, and he puts it back in his. It was a gag. It was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a lot of people took the treatment of the K-pop Demon Hunters writers as a bit of a microaggression. But they were able to finish their speech in the back room when they did the post-award interview. They were able to finish their speech back there. Like somebody said, "Can you please finish the speech you wanted to tell?"
First of all,
because he was pulling out a paper because English isn't his first language, so he needed to actually read something to be like, "What the fuck was I going to say in English? Let me read this real quick." And they just started playing the music, which is really.
If you know this in the United people, right? People in the United States gotta know this. ABC cut 6-hour block for the Oscars. They do the people arriving show for 2 hours before that, and they got a 4-hour block for the show, and they still rush people off the stage. Now, whatever, man. I've already committed to the damn show. Who cares about local news at 11 or whatever fuck, Let's just give out the awards.
Well, that's why streaming is better, because you don't have to be on a channel. When you're streaming, you don't have to be on a channel. Yeah. You open the video, you let the video play in the background or whatever.
All the advertising anyway.
And yeah, you never have to worry on YouTube or whatever, or Hulu, right? Oh, another show's coming up in the time slot. You never have to worry about that. You click the video you want to watch and you watch it.
And if you're worried about advertising, just have it on the frickin' award. This Oscar is sponsored by EM. Works for me. No commercials. Just do it. Go. Anyway.
I agree. I wish they would just keep going and no commercials.
They have a lot of commercials. How does NASCAR pay for all them cars? Advertising all over the car.
Our next segue is going to be a non sequitur for this day in history. Did you open the video, by the way? So it's loaded?
All right. This day in history. I also saw this live last night, so it was it's going to be a review for me. So,
your commentary is still valuable, even if you've already seen it.
You know what else happened yesterday? Was the men's and women's were announced. I don't know if we're going to do that this year. There's just too much going on, right? This 21 Portuguese navigator Ferdinand Magellan. We were talking about the Spaniards and how they conquered the New World. Well, the Portuguese are also on board. Nonsense. But he was sailing the Spanish flag on his circumnavigation of the globe. He reached the Philippines on this day, securing the first alliance in the Pacific Islands for Spain. This day in 1751, James Madison, the guy who wrote the Constitution, the fourth U.S. president, was one of the founding fathers, was born in Virginia. Yes, James Madison is the guy that wrote the Constitution. No one else wrote the Constitution, just James Madison. Ooh, the author of the Constitution. No, there was no authors of the Constitution. It was James Madison, Alexander Hamilton's buddy. Right? So again, if you were confused about who wrote what, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. That was his pen that wrote it. James Madison, his pen, wrote the Constitution. Those are his words. Right? I'm sure they debated the words, but he wrote down.
But anyway, he's the one who wrote them down, yeah.
Fact of history.
And what did Hamilton write? Hamilton wrote the Federalist Papers, I believe.
Yeah. Madison and Hamilton wrote the Federalist Papers, yes.
Yeah.
And with John Jay. Anyway, okay, 1802, the United States Military Academy at West Point was opened. One of the oldest service academies in the world. Was originally founded as a center for the U.S. Corps of Engineers. So West Point, which is right across the Hudson River from New York City. 1850, American author Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter was published. And we know all about that one. I hope you do. She had to wear an A for adulteress, which is weird because men do that stuff all the time, so wear nothing. 1921, the Treaty of Moscow established friendly relations between the national government of Turkey and the Soviet Union. Way to go, Turkey. You're still recovering from that, right? By the way, Hungary has elections this week. I believe Orban's up. We want to cover that at some point. 1926, American inventor Robert H. Goddard launched the first successful liquid-propelled rocket. Yes, the father of the rocket. There's Robert H. Goddard. You don't hear enough about him. Oh yeah, 1926. And of course, Germany is the ones that really gleaned onto that for the Battle of Britain. They were sending rockets right over to England. 1926, Jerry Lewis, who's unrestrained comic. Well, Jerry Lewis was born in Newark, New Jersey. His unrestrained comic style made him one of the most popular performers in 1950s, 1960s. He was born in Newark, New Jersey. Although in his movies with Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis saying, "I'm from Steubenville, Ohio." And ironically, Dean Martin was from, well, not ironically, because Dean Martin was from Steubenville, Ohio, so Jerry Lewis borrowed his hometown. That's the weirdest thing ever, right? 1940, The U.S. Marines captured Iwo Jima. Took them a while. I don't think they ever really, until like years later, when finally the last, Japanese inside the tunnel surrendered because he ran out of food or water or something. 1968, during the Vietnam War, U.S. soldiers dispatched. This is the My Lai massacre. Yeah, anniversary of that. Yet killed as many as 500 unarmed civilians in My Lai, which the U.S. considered a stronghold of Viet Cong. It was absolute bullshit. It was due to the body counts that General Westmoreland decided we put in play. We need body counts, and he decided to start counting civilians as deaths. Yes, the United States government has not been telling you the truth for a long damn time. I'm going to say my entire life they have not been telling the truth. I know that for a fact myself, so why should I even pretend? Vietnam War started the year I was born, basically. I mean, right after that, so we were already fucking up then, and government's been lying to us ever since. Don't trust the government. Always check. Check, verify, check. Measure twice and cut once.
Ask who gave you the information.
1974. 1974, the Grand Ole Opry radio broadcast for the first time from the new Grand Ole Opry House in Nashville. Opening night featured country legend Roy Acuff and U.S. President Richard Nixon. I don't have any of Nixon's albums. I understand he could play piano very well, though. He was a piano player. I don't think he performed. He may have performed. Either way, Nixon was out of office a couple of months later, so fuck him. 1978, the Amako Cadiz tanker ran aground and broke in two, releasing nearly 69 million gallons of light crude oil in the coast of Brittany, France. It was at the time, the largest oil spill in the world. Exxon Valdez said, "Hold my petroleum. I will make a bigger one." 1995, Mississippi ratified the this day in 1995, Mississippi outlawed slavery. 1995, that's right. Only 31 years has slavery been illegal in Mississippi. It ratified the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery as a constitution. Mississippi's ratification was not made official until 20. The state notified the U.S. archivist. Thank you, Mississippi, for getting on board with that. 2014, the reported 97% of voters in Crimea chose to secede from Ukraine and join the Russian Federation. Oh yeah, that was a real vote. The referendum is not recognized by the Ukrainian government in Kiev, and only a handful of countries recognize Russia's subsequent annexation of the region. Yeah, we're gonna hold the poll. Should we be part of the Russian Federation? Yes or no? And of course, the no part was just cut off the bottom of the ballot, and they just counted the yeses. 97%, huh?
Yeah, like who run this vote?
97% of people. You
Some
can't get
Russian
97% of people to agree that. Right. You can't get 97% of people to agree that the sky is blue, but you get 97% of the vote on a referendum. Give me a fuck.
That's literally
1621 is a featured
impossible.
event.
Yeah. No way.
1621 is our featured event. 405 years ago today, Samoset greets pilgrims at Plymouth Colony. On this day in 1620, Samoset, a member of the Abenaki tribe, made contact with the pilgrim of Plymouth Colony, greeting them in English, having learned the language from fishermen along the coast of Maine, and thereafter established a close relationship with the Sledder. He later introduced them to Squanto, who became an important part of the Plymouth community. Throughout his life, Samoset helped to establish peaceful relations with Native Americans, despite occasional wars and disputes. Of course, the settlers themselves were a cult. They were a religious cult, and they were kicked out of the Netherlands. And the Mayflower is what they set sail on, but they didn't really. That wasn't even their first choice of a trip, right? The first choice of a boat. Our featured biography is Carolyn Hurl, British-German astronomer. She was born in 1750 in a field-dominated and she was an astronomer in 1700s. She was British and German. Interesting. She died January 9th, 1848 in Hanover, Germany. Born in Hanover, died in Hanover. She lived to be 97, though. Looking at the sky. 1911 is a birthday of Joseph. I don't know who celebrates his birthday, but I guess there's a lot of Nazis out there. It's Jerry Lewis we brought up. It's 100th birthday of Jerry Lewis, and we'll point that out.
Damn.
Vladimir Mikhailovich Karamov, Soviet cosmonaut, born in 1927. He would be 99. Bernardo Bertolucci, Italian director, born in 1941. And Richard Stallman, American computer programmer, born in 1953. If you can get famous for being a computer programmer, you're doing something right. Other things today for March 16th, it is National Curl Crush Day.
That was Curl Crush.
I need some definition on that.
Girl Crush? Girl Crush?
Curl Crush. That's what it says.
Curl Crush.
Curl Crush. Oh, it's the stuff, if you got yourself an afro, it's the stuff I think that straightens out your curls. That's all I can think of.
An evil,
That's all I can think
evil
of.
invention of anti-blackness is what that sounds like to me.
I know black people still buy it, and it seems like a torture device to me, so I don't know. It seems like
it is definitely a torture device.
I don't care. Yeah, my hairstylist is known as the Wind. That's my hairstylist. National Panda Day. It is today. So
Woohoo,
National
pandas.
Artichoke Hearts Day. National
Let's eat some bamboo.
Everything you do is right. That's right. Everything you do is right today. National Freedom of Information Act. Oh boy, we need more information. Oh, it says see more. I hope there's probably some more things I miss. So you're gonna do everything right today, especially if you're a panda. And if you're a panda, get busy, eat that bamboo. And nope, that's everything. National Freedom of Information Day. Everything you do is right. Artichokes and pandas, plus National Curl Crush. Everything March 16th. Your haikus, your technical glitches. No tornado yet.
That's good. Artichoke hearts.
Yeah, artichoke. The inside. Mostly the part when I buy artichokes, I just buy the pickled hearts, like the sauteed.
Oh yeah, those are pretty good.
Oil, right? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, for my non sequitur. It's gonna be it's BTS week because they're doing their comeback on Friday, so I'll be doing that on Friday.
No.
Hopefully, I'll make it in time for the show. I don't think the concert's gonna be 5 hours long. I hope not. But because it's in Korea, the concert's going to be on at 12 p.m. my time. It's 8 p.m. Korean time and 12 p.m. my time. So in the middle of the day, I'll be going, yeah, BTS.
The best original song is in Korean.
Yeah. Well, no, it's in English.
That's another thing.
There's some Korean in it, but it's mostly in English.
I say the best foreign language song is. I'm sorry, the best song for the Oscars is actually in a bit weird. I don't think they've even done that before.
I don't know. I'm not sure. They've definitely done Spanish. But let's see if there's any international days today. There are no. Oh my god. There's no international day today, but I just saw. I'm like looking at a calendar. On Saturday, there's like 7 days on Saturday. So I'm not sure what's happening on Saturday on the 21st of March. But there's so many things. Oh my god. Also, I just realized this is what I always end up doing this when I do the mic drop movement. I forget to put the mic drop movement in for the stream to watch. I download it for myself and then I just leave it there. Okay, let me get that. Put it here. But yes, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you. This has been Allison here. My sequitur is non sequitur. I was very non sequitur. We didn't talk about anything. Yeah, related to your story. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands. Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. As we finish off another Mucking Fonday, we'll see you tomorrow for the Good News Newsday episode, in which we'll be covering all the good news we can find so that you have hope and humanity in the world again. So make sure that if you're not already, subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel, because we need YouTube to know how much people enjoy our videos. And thank you everyone who's already following on YouTube, on Twitch, on subscribed on YouTube, and don't forget to turn those notifications on so you know when we go live and post a video. And thank you to all our Patreon supporters who are keeping the show running. Here is our mic drop moment.
I first met Rob Reiner in 1975 when I was cast as his best friend in an episode of All in the Family. And it went so well, Rob said, you know, it's fun playing your best friend. Why don't we keep it going? And it was a thrill to see him evolve from a great comic actor to a master storyteller. His first film is This Is Spinal Tap. Yes.
Everyone knows.
I'm glad they got to make a sequel to Spinal Tap.
The hilarious and brilliant mockumentary where the comedy was turned up to 11. Then John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga and The Pursuit of Love in The Sure Thing. And then he beautifully portrays the pain of boys about to become men in Stand By Me.
Yeah, I watched that show recently, I think last year even.
Next, the inconceivable tale of true love and rodents of unusual size. Revenge,
there's some people who still haven't seen that film, which is so sad.
A gentle giant, sword fights, and
Everyone
an old miracle man and his wife in The Princess Bride. Then, with an Oscar-nominated Nora Ephron script, Bruno Kirby, Carrie Fisher, Meg Ryan,
it's a geek classic, really. If you're a geek,
then it was New York in the fall, Katz's Deli, I'll have what she's having, Baby Fish Mouth, He Can't Buy, and Harry telling Sally, when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. Audiences then lined up to see.
Some people
I think they should have put Val Kilmer more in the Oscars.
He gave them Misery.
Really?
There should have been more about Val Kilmer in the Oscars.
A psychodrama and an Oscar for Kathy Bates playing the psycho in that drama. Aaron Sorkin's Courtroom Thriller.
Well, I guess it's because Rob Reiner died in a very tragic way.
Demi Moore, Kevin Pollak, and a few good men named Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, who warned us, you can't handle the truth.
Just make the
which is simply what we all want today. Then into the Oval Office and an American president wrestling with a new love and his own morality. My friends, Rob's movies will last for lifetimes because
a lot of those are
about
classic
what
films.
makes us laugh and cry and what we aspire to be.
They're about
far
people.
Better in his eyes, far kinder, far funnier, and far more human.
He turned a lot of Stephen King
when Michelle Singer entered his life,
stories
they were unstoppable.
He didn't necessarily direct them all,
not only
but
produced films with Rob,
he did finance.
But it was her energy that had them working tirelessly to fight social injustice in the country that they both loved. Now, Rob and Michelle Reiner became the driving force in the landmark decision for marriage equality across the United States.
Yeah, if you want to get married, do that, I guess.
Don't forget, they did the same thing for Robert Redford, and they did the same thing for Diane Keaton.
And to the millions who have enjoyed his films all these years.
But then they cut off the K-pop Demon Hunter.
The world, how many times Rob told me that it meant everything to him, that his work meant something to you. And for us, who had the privilege of working with and knowing him and loving him, all we can say is, buddy, what fun we had storming the castle.
Castle Rock.
And this is the part I saw on social media, right? All the people who've been affected and lives have been changed. And...
There's Christopher Guest. Christopher Key, Mandy Patinkin, of course, Meg Ryan, Kathy Bates, Kevin Pollak, who does the best Christopher Walken.
Except for the man himself.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.